Alrighty, so welcome back to the next segment of the 50-50 show. Now we're going to be talking about the Denver Nuggets versus the Miami Heat. Denver won 133 to 113 in a 20-point blowout in Jimmy Butler's first game back after the 8-game suspension that the Miami Heat gave to him. Aaron Gordon also returned for the Denver Nuggets, but he did come in off the bench. So, Omair, obviously Denver Nuggets, really big blowout game. Feel free to talk about your Nuggets, but first, talk to me about Jimmy Butler. What did you see? Do you think he's trying? What do you make of this Miami Heat team that's going through this really crazy drama in the middle of the season?
I'll first talk about my Miami Heat, and then I'll get on to the Denver Nuggets. First, let's talk about the man of the hour, Jimmy Butler. Let's look at what's going on with him. So the main issue we can see with him is that before he was suspended, he clearly showed a lack of engagement and lack of energy in the game. He was quite literally, as he puts himself, sitting in the corner. Okay, and now he might construe it as the offense is phasing him out or he's not being used the way he wants to. Clearly a bit of a silent protest, only shooting, I think, 7 shots the game before he gets suspended. But let's look at Butler as a player, okay, because I completely understand him as a player, and I kind of understand where he's coming from as well. So let's look at Butler. For his entire career, except for that 2023 playoff run, Butler has been defined by an obscene ability to drive at the rim and finish, while also giving you good energy on defense. He's a average to below average mid-range shooter, and God forbid he shoots a 3. So then what happened in the 2023 playoffs, defenses were playing him in drop coverage because he's so good at driving, and he starts pulling the midi. Tyler Herro is out for the entire postseason run, so he's given the green light to take as many shots as he wants. But what? He starts hitting those shots at almost MJ levels of accuracy. I want to say 48, 49% from the mid-range as a whole. So he takes over. He leads his team to the finals. Then they come back in the regular season. That mid-range shooting goes right back down to normal. He's back to being average. Okay? Then he gets injured in the last year's postseason. He tears his MCL. Comes back this season. Same story. He's still good at driving at the rim, but not a great midi shooter. But there's an added twist. Tyler Herro's back, and he's having a career season. Across the board, numbers are up, and efficiency is up. He's really upgraded his game. What does that mean? Even less shots, even less opportunities for Butler. So then what are we seeing now? He's not even driving to the rim that aggressively. He'll have the ball, and instead of taking it all the way to the rim, he'll look for early passes, dribble handoffs, and look to get rid of the ball. I don't know if that was a form of protest or he truly is just getting worse. He's kind of making it hard for us to understand. I'm playing bad, I'm just protesting. He could say that, and his fans could say that, but I really couldn't tell you. So then let's look at last night's game. I didn't see any of that, and I'm very happy for the Miami Heat with what Jimmy Butler gave them. He only gave them 18 points, but very much looked like vintage Butler. He did not have the ball in his hands a lot. He wasn't very aggressive with the ball in terms of driving, but that was okay. He went back to his roots, his first year in Miami roots, playing with Philly. A lot of off-ball cuts. Instead of sitting in the corner, he's in the dunker spot. He's going hard for rebounds, even if he doesn't get the ball for an offensive board, or he's in the dunker spot, so he's catching lobs or catching dump passes to, hit the rim. Really well-timed cuts, playing off Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, and then some middies as well, getting into the high post. He hit a midi over Jamal Murray, I want to say, and then another midi on the baseline. It was just more vintage Butler gameplay. Good off-ball movement, good mid-range shooting. So this, going forward, could be a good compromise for Miami if Butler keeps it up, where he embraces the off-ball role, goes back to his roots, because at being 35, it doesn't make sense. Or not 35, sorry, he is older, though. Asking him to have so much ball-handling duties, while having a young guy like Tyler Herro, who we can agree has more upside.
No, I cannot agree.
Okay,
but feel free to
we'll get there. I would say Tyler Herro has more upside. So, understandably, we get where Miami's coming from, and they appreciate what Butler's doing for them. But one thing I will say, though, I understand Butler's frustration. Because you look at it from his perspective, it really truly does feel like Miami had no interest in building a roster around him that could truly contend for the chip. That 2023 playoff run was a fluke. They shouldn't have been that good, but because Butler went quite literally MJ mode, he became Himmy Butler, Himmy Buckets, they got to the playoffs. And for him, he saw what he can do. But the team didn't see that. So they don't feel like they were stringing him along like, we'll get you a roster. We'll contend for a chip. They never did. They never pulled the trigger on the move that could have potentially put them over the hump. And then they
You got
don't.
Terry Rozier though.
Yeah, exactly.
My boy Rozier.
Terry Rozier. We know what Rozier gets up to and is not playing with basketballs.
Okay, shout out Selena though.
Okay, all right. Let's chill out there. We don't need a name drop. So
Just saying, he had like great game after that one.
yeah, okay. So then, and on top of that, so the team is kind of stringing him along, not really contending for the chip the way he wants to. And last summer, they wouldn't give him the max contract extension. So while I see it from a business perspective, Miami's perspective, yeah, Jimmy Butler probably isn't good enough being the first option leading your team to a chip. He did it once and exactly once in the postseason, and I don't think he's going to ever do it again. He's not getting any younger, right? But then from Butler's perspective, I also see it where he's giving his body, he's giving his passion, his sweat, his blood, his tears to this organization, and they can't even give him the money he feels he has earned. So that I see both perspectives, but at the end of the day, the last night's game was a good showing from Butler. Miami fans have nothing to complain about for Butler except maybe his defense. But what else do you expect from an aging star? Real quick on the rest of Miami, I know I took a lot of time on Butler. Bam Adebayo was solid as always. I don't like his offensive game. I've said that before. I think it's okay, but it's not great by any means. He very much relies on the short mid-range jumpers, those little bunnies. And I just think he's not very consistent from there, which is really bad when you don't have a powerful inside game to back it up.
Or a three.
Exactly, or a three. And Tyler Herro, 2 of 7 from 3. Thing is, I'm not worried about that. I didn't mind that at all because the inside game was quite good. It was 2 of 7 from 3, but he was quite efficient from the field overall. So even though the 3 wasn't falling, he found a way to get inside driving lanes, hit a couple middies, get into the floater. I really like that versatility from him because you don't want your first option or your future first option, if you still believe in Jimmy Butler, to be just one-dimensional three-point shooter. He has other facets to his game, which he was definitely using to his advantage. And then just finally, as I bring my segment to a close, the Nuggets. Jokic, he's still my MVP. 9 of 12, a cool, relaxed, just a chill guy dropping a 24-point triple-double.
I don't know if people are going to agree with that. Shea just dropped 40 on Cleveland.
I know people still fan of Shea, but no, for me, the Joker, he's still my MVP because he's just so dominant on the offensive end. He can do it all. He can shoot threes, post up, layups, run the break, run in transition himself, pass, of course. All right? And he did that 9 of 12, hyper efficient. While his co-star, Jamal Murray, drops 30, he takes a lot of the shots, takes a lot of ball handling duties. So even while he lets his co-star shine, he himself still just had a great game. And of course, Westbrook, my guy, I know you're going to hate. You're always going to find a way to hate. Westbrook, 11 points, 7 assists, good 3-point shooting night. Love to see it. It was just fantastic. So as a Nuggets fan, that was great. As a appreciative of Coach Spoelstra and Miami ball, I love what I saw from Jimmy Butler, and Tyler Herro continues to improve. So that's my take on the game.
Yeah, I don't think I could disagree more, man.
Okay, tell us about it.
So here's the thing with the Jimmy Butler situation. Oh, man, where do I even start? So he got swindled by Pat Riley because if you guys remember, there was a time where Dame to Miami was the favorite, place for
Dame wanted to go to Miami.
Dame wanted to go there. And instead, Pat Riley got Jimmy Butler, Rozier. Bro, like, are you kidding me? That's not even the Chrysler and the Phantom thing. That's like the 07 Honda that's broken down. Like, I don't even know how to analogize. Like, they're not comparable players at all. It was a terrible GMing decision, and whoever did it really needs to be fired. And if it's Pat Riley, send that brother to the nursing home because he's washed. Like, of course, as Jimmy Butler, you're not getting paid, right? You're not getting the max contract. You're getting ice out of the offense. Tyler Herro is getting to take more shots than you. I'm pretty sure at some point, Bam Adebayo was getting to take more shots.
Which is unacceptable, in my opinion. Adebayo over Butler, no.
And because remember, the offense already runs through Bam because it's that spoke offense where you put the 4 on the high post and let it all run through, right? And you're busting your butt on defense. Tyler Herro, meanwhile, is a cone. Duncan Robinson's a cone. Like, you got a bunch of cones on this team.
D-Rob comes off the bench a lot.
No, I know, but like, who's trying on defense? Like, Rozier's not trying on defense.
Adebayo is.
It's just Bam and Butler, right? So Butler is now not getting the offensive love. He's not getting the defensive love. He's not getting the money from Pat Riley. And remember, his father passed away last year, and I feel like he feels that the team judged him for how much time he spent away from the family. I know that was a contention point in one of their private meetings, and Butler was talking about how I only left to go see my dad, and the Miami side is like, what about those Instagrams you posted with your friends on charters, on game days? Like, there's arguments there, but I think it's more of a philosophical one. I think it's about are you really bought into the culture type of thing? Whereas for me, I think with Jimmy, he always says, what about my output? Like, why is no one respecting my output? Because the same thing happened to him in Philly. They were always talking about, do you think he's controllable? Do you think he's like a dog that we can control, or do we need to let him go? And he talked about in an interview I think he did with JJ Redick, it's like, when I heard that, I knew I was leaving Philly because I'm not a dog. I'm a grown man. Like, he said that, right? And I think he's getting those same feelings from Pat Riley because it's like, yeah, there's a Miami culture and you got to do things a certain way. But, brother, like, he is the only good player you have. What do you want?
Tyler Herro, yeah.
No, Tyler Herro's not. Yeah, let me just get that out there.
Yeah.
I don't think Tyler Herro's that good. He's just an average starting point guard in the NBA. He's way worse than Dame. He's not better than Butler. I don't even have him over Bam. Yeah, his offense is better than Bam, but when you consider the defense and the overall holistic player, I don't think he's very good. You basically just have a worse Halliburton. Like, when I just think of East point guards to compare him to, you're never going to do anything because the Pacers are just a better version of you. So let's just get that out of the way. But I think that's sort of what happening to Jimmy Butler. You were talking about it. He was playing off the cuts this game, right? I just in general felt he was playing very third option. I got flashbacks to Tobias Harris. I got flashbacks to Jimmy on Minnesota. Not even like Philly for sure, but on Minnesota too. So he's getting into that position, but I think he was just annoyed because he's like, you guys are forcing me to go back to that third option when I just did that in the playoffs.
Well, two playoffs ago.
Well, yeah. And then Tyler Herro has never proved himself. Why does he get to take over the reins of the offense when I probably have one of the best performances of the 2020 so far? Like, is anyone arguing that? Outside of actual winning the chip, that Jimmy Butler run was historic. And they did it twice. They had 2 miracle runs to the Eastern Conference
the
Final.
2020 bubble run, but I don't think Butler was as dominant in that run. He had a great performance in the final against the Lakers.
Final. Exactly.
That iconic moment where he's
sweating, he's exhausted. Exactly.
But you have to admit that whole run though for 2020, it wasn't just him.
Yeah, no,
very much the team came together for that one.
For sure, but he was the first option on that run. So I think he's in his mind, that's what he's seeing. But I just think, like, people look at it as ego. To me, he's not being ego because he said this. I believe it's maybe a rumor, but I'm pretty sure he said this. He's fine being the third option to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the Suns, but he doesn't want to be the third option to Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, and who can blame him? He is a better player than anybody else in the Miami Heat. If he's on the same team with KD, I don't think he's egotistical enough to be like, KD, I want the ball. Let me do it. I really think he will take that step back, and then he'll be fine if he makes a little less money because he's like, okay, well, at least I'm on a good team. And I'm still being like, no one's ever going to disrespect me. No one's going to say I'm a bad third option. On Miami, it sort of feels like he was being disrespected the whole time. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes with him, Pat Riley, and Spoelstra, but that's always the vibe I got since Tyler Herro came back. And I think it's really sad. I do agree with you, by the way, that Butler was never good enough to contend as a first option, but that's because most players are not good enough to contend as a first option. Like, I look at Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton isn't good enough to win, and when they got Spicy P, they're still not good enough to win. But do you think the Indiana Pacers GM went to Halliburton and is like, well, brother, I can't offer you the max contract because you're not that good, and I'm going to go get you a Terry Rozier level player because we can't contend, so might as well just get a bum off the bench. That's not an acceptable thing for a GM to say to a top player whose life is basketball.
Well, that's probably why he feels frustrated.
Exactly.
I don't think Pat Riley said that. He's not a moron. If you say that to your star, he's leaving.
But that's,
so he kind of, like what I said, he strung him along.
Exactly.
So while I hate to agree with you, I think on this point we can.
Yeah, I just think Jimmy got disrespected. And I think if you're a Miami fan who believes in Tyler Herro, maybe you're going to be a little more likely to be angry at Jimmy Butler. But since I don't, to me, this is a D-Wade kind of situation again. You're letting this great, but he's not even as old and washed as D-Wade or anything. Like, you're just letting this great player walk away. And Pat Riley, what proof does he have that he knows how to build like a team? Honestly, show me any proof of, and please do not reference from years before I was born, okay? Because even if that's valid, it's too long ago. The whole scene has changed, right? When has Pat Riley built a team? LeBron came to him. He didn't build any of that.
When we got Shaq,
he got D-Wade they drafted, right? Top draft pick. Yep. And then ever since then,
but they paired him with Shaq and they won that chip.
Yeah, but like, he didn't. That's what I'm saying. He didn't draft them. Like, you had to have the player. So if you think Tyler Herro is that level of player, you might feel a certain type of way. Because I don't feel that way about Tyler Herro, I don't see where the future is for Miami after you did this to Butler. Because I also feel like if you go back and you ask Dame now, hey, are you happy you didn't go to Miami? I think he's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm happy. Like, and he's being coached by Doc Rivers. So think about that. Like, that he has to be like, yeah, this is better. I think this is going to hurt them in the free agency market for the next 2 to 5 years. I think people aren't going to forget that this is how Jimmy was treated. Because for all you want to say about Jimmy being toxic or whatever, unless some evidence comes out about he was doing some crazy stuff, all I see is your best player being sort of frozen out of the money, the offense, the defense, disrespected in the press conferences. Like, remember, what really happened was, like, a big moment was Jimmy Butler said something in a press conference, and then Pat Riley did his press conference, and he was like, if you have nothing useful to say or nothing good to say, you should just shut up.
Well, because actually I can give the context.
Yeah.
So last year, in last year's playoff run, Miami Heat is playing the Celtics, and Jimmy Butler said if he was playing, he was injured at this point, he said, if I was playing, the New York Knicks would be at home, Indiana Pacers would be at home, and so would the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And he said they're all bums compared to him.
Exactly. And so maybe, Pat is trying to do that thing of, like, don't disrespect your teammates who did play.
I mean, it's the Heat culture, right?
Exactly.
That's what he's trying to enforce.
But I just think, like, that's just Jimmy. Like, that's he trash talks. I guarantee you he's saying that on the court, is he not? We know, like, what was said during that Minnesota practice. Jeff Teague, everyone's talked about it. Like, he's really out there saying, like, y'all are bums. Y'all can't win without me. Give me 4 scrubs. I will beat everybody here. He really feels that type of way. If you're trying to neuter that, like, you're trying to take away what makes him a man, what makes him a basketball player, like, frankly, Pat Riley, you should be fired. Like, that's what I'm going to say on this. Like, from this game, I see Jimmy Butler coming back and trying to be a consummate professional. I'm just not with Pat Riley, bro. Get that man out of here. If you're a Miami fan, you should want him out of here because he hasn't done anything good. Like, what do you want? What are you crediting him with?
See, what? I get what you're saying, and you seem like a more sort of Jimmy Butler fan, so I understand why you'd be frustrated.
Yeah, I'm always siding with the player, especially.
Exactly. But if I look at it from the team perspective and what Pat Riley did, hasn't what he just done? All he's done has been a shrewd businessman. He saw Jimmy Butler as someone who's well liked by the fans. He definitely pulls in fans, right? But he knew, and a lot of us knew, that he's not good enough to win a chip. So why would he commit money or resources to maximizing a Butler when he knows it's not enough for the ultimate goal of winning a chip? And when you have someone like Tyler Herro, who could be, because he's young, because of the development, and where his game, his three-point shooting, his versatility could lead to something. I understand. I already pointed out, I think Butler was played with and swindled a little bit. And I understand frustration. But you look at it from the fan perspective, who only cares about Miami, who only cares about their future success. Don't you think Pat Riley did a good job?
No. If you are a Miami fan, you are a Miami lifer, okay? Viva la Miami. Pat Riley is trash, bro. He ruined your whole franchise. He has no evidence that he's ever done well, and he's continuing to fail. Tyler Herro, I literally... Oh my God! I wish someone would put up a market where if I could bet against Tyler Herro to win a chip as a first option, because I have $1 million to put down on the no of that. I don't care what price. Like, he is not good enough, and if that's what this whole basis is around, you failed from step one. There is no shot. Like, think of the guards that have won, like, recently, like, as a first option. We're talking Curry level.
Yeah, that's the only first option guard.
If anyone sees Tyler Herro and thinks he is near Curry level, I got a crack pipe you can share with me, my brother. Like, what are we...
Share with you? Yeah, you have been humping that crack.
I partake.
Hey, yo, what?
I have some opinions that could be attributed to that. This is a metaphorical one, obviously. Yeah. Listen, if that's what you did this on the basis off of, that's ridiculous. And you're saying Jimmy Butler isn't good enough, so why maximize? That's why I brought up that Indiana Pacers thing. By that logic, only 3 teams should be trying to win in any given year. If you don't have Jason Tatum in the East, why are you trying to win? The Cavs don't have a single player that's within a throwing, like a distance of Jason Tatum. That's my opinion. And I believe if you ask most GMs, they would say the same thing. D-Mitch is not on that level. Do you think the Cavs are winning? Like, you're putting butts in seats. You're building a decent legacy. And then, you just always leave yourself outs to continue growing. So the Miami Heat, they haven't done that. I feel like if you went and got Damian Lillard instead of Rozier, you wouldn't have been bankrupt. And then you would get to have Herro coming off the bench. Now we're getting into a Peyton Pritchard kind of situation. Because I'd happily say Herro is one of the best guards coming off the bench in the entire league. Right? Sort of the Miles McBride situation in New York, but even better than him. And then you'd have Damian Lillard as a starting point guard. Then this team is 4th in the East. This team could have been where Orlando is right now in terms of seeding.
I kind of like where you're coming from. Okay, another thing we also need to consider is Tyler Herro. He's technically a shooting guard. I'm pretty sure.
Move him to the 2.
6'5".
Move him to the 2.
He could have very much moved in the 2. Because when I watched his game, if I talked about him, his playmaking, his passing, 4th on the list. I like his driving. I like his scoring ability. I like his scoring versatility. Yeah. But the passer, I think, is definitely more... he's coming forced in that role where they don't have any good point guards. God forbid Terry Rozier is facilitating your offense. So actually,
and then those little bunnies that Bam can't hit, he can stop shooting those. You can be like, Bam, man, respectfully, we only need about 3 shots a game. You can be our Rudy Gobert. So now you got this defensive stud. Then Jimmy Butler's like, okay, now I'm taking less shots, but now Dame is shooting some more shots. I'm cool with that. Tyler Herro's shooting shots, but that's because that's his job. It's not like a usage thing. He's just got to put the shots up. And then I'll be that more versatile wing, and then Bam will be our defensive anchor. Now, do I think this team would have won the East? No. Jason Tatum would have had to have his ACL and MCL tear, and Kristaps Porzingis would have to be out. And then, of course, the Cavs, and then the Knicks team. I'm not saying that Miami would be favored, but you got to remember, that's just a regular season record type of thing. I would argue for Miami to have any chance of winning a ring in the next 10 years, you sort of need to believe that Jimmy Butler is that LeBron type of player. He doesn't Jamal Murray type of player. They don't take regular season as seriously, but they level up in the playoffs. I would say there's enough evidence to prove that. He's done it twice in 4 years.
See,
as much evidence as you can get.
As an analyst, I don't see that. Cause what Jimmy Butler did in those playoff runs, those are anomalies. They are not. They are exceptions to the rule, exceptions to the norm.
No, I know, but like, I think most teams, if you don't have a top 5 player in the NBA, you need an anomaly to really have a chance of contending.
So you're saying you're saying basically is that if you rank their players, they have any chance it's gonna be on an anomaly occurring,
and he's already done it
maximize for it.
And he's already done it twice, so I'm not asking for anything crazy. And yeah, you need to maximize for it because even if the anomaly doesn't happen, even if Butler doesn't show up in the playoffs to the level he's done before, did you really fail when you got to the 4th seed and you probably won in the first round and you lost in a close second round? Because now I don't see where the future is. Like, what is the future for Miami now? And now you get to be the 8th seed team. You're going to lose in the first round. You can book that right now. Miami, if they make it to the playoffs and they don't have Jimmy Butler, they're going to lose in the first round. Like, that's straight up. So you're saying, like, for the future of Miami, the only way this becomes good for the future of Miami is if Pat Riley gets lucky and he gets some idiot to give him, like, the Mikal Bridges level haul for Jimmy Butler, which, remember, New York was dumb enough to even pay it in the first place. Like, who's going to pay it? Who? I don't know. I honestly can't think of a team. New York was one of the few teams that was contender level and had a lot of draft picks to give up. Like, there's OKC, but I don't think OKC is going to be dumb enough to overpay for Jimmy Butler. So I don't even see how Miami's future got better. Now you guys get to have a mediocre point guard. At least he was in a Jack Harlow song. You have Bam Adebayo, who's like a significantly worse version of Rudy Gobert. And then who else do you have? You have Kellel. Oh, you have Jovic, by the way. Shout out to Jovic from this game, just to bring it a little back to today, actually. Yeah. Or last night. I did like what I saw on offense. Really big body. Like, it was attacking Denver from the perimeter all the way to the paint. But it's not enough. So, and now you just look like douches.
Yeah. Ultimately, I will say this, though, with your Damian Lillard situation, you almost pulled me in. I was also kind of seeing what you're saying. You have to remember, though, at the time, the talks between the Blazers and the Heat, the Blazers were really trying to run Heat for the money for that trade. They wanted Adebayo for Lillard. Or maybe even Herro. Would you have given up Herro for Lillard?
Yeah, I would have given up Herro for Lillard. Are you crazy? Yeah,
I think they were always trying to get Adebayo. If I remember correctly,
no.
Adebayo had to be a part of the trade for the Blazers.
No, because what did Milwaukee end up giving up for him? Remember, who ended up on Portland was Robert Williams, I believe, and then some draft picks.
Yeah, because they did a
three-man trade. Yeah, but what I'm just talking about what Portland ended up getting, right? Because as a Portland GM, all you're considering is when I give up Dame, what do I get back? And if I remember correctly, they got Robert Williams and a bunch of draft picks, and that's about it. Now, granted, I think Robert Williams is great, but
they're a tanking team. Yeah. He's no tank commander.
Exactly, and he's constantly injured. So I feel like if you had actually been willing to give up Herro, they would have considered it. I don't know why. It's dumb with them. They already had Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson. They already have guards that are bad and they can't develop.
But I think that's why they were looking for Adebayo. They already have guards.
Yeah,
so giving up Adebayo on the older side would be kind of a thing. We were like, okay, we got a nice piece. Our guards developed, and they could have been a real team.
Yeah, well, you can't give up Adebayo. I agree with that. But I mean, anything over Rozier, man. Like, come on, think of it. Like, why didn't we get DFS? Why didn't we get Dorian Finney-Smith?
Rozier was a hot commodity at the time. He was playing quite well.
That's what I'm saying. As a GM,
you can't get swindled like that.
You can't get swindled like that. Like, if Twitter believes Terry Rozier is good, Like, think about it. That's what as a GM you're paid for, right? Like, I make money for knowing more about player rating and teams than the average viewer. That's literally like what the market requires. A GM should always be better than me. If you're worse than me at that as a GM, please feel free to hand me your 8-figure paycheck. I will gladly take it. And of course, I'm not egotistical. I'm not crazy. They are better than me. They live and breathe basketball. If Pat Riley fell for that, to me, that's an indictment on his recent record. And that's why I asked you, how about you show me some good signs? I would say the Kevin Love one, for example. I'll throw one out there. Getting Kevin Love was good. I don't think they've used him as much, for as many minutes as they should. But Kevin Love was a good signing. But I just don't see what Pat Riley has proven. He's not a Sam Presti. What evidence do we have that he could build anything? Even if Tyler Herro, I'll give it to you. Tyler Herro is going to end up being as good as Tyrese Halliburton, like a top 5 guard on the East, but not a top 5 player. How about that'll be fair, right? I think most Tyler Herro fans would consider me not a hater if I offer you that. Yeah. Where's your evidence that Pat Riley can build around that? Because the Pacers so far haven't been able to do so, and that's it. Like I just show, like other GMs can't even do it. Well, I see even less proof for the Heat. So now, to me, it's over. As a Miami Heat, it's over, bro. Get ready to watch a whole lot of Kel Ware minutes, getting some useless double-doubles. Get ready to see Jovic. Okay, cool. And you're just not going to win a chip. And now the goal for the Miami Heat is just going to be to get out of the first round. It's like right now, in my opinion, what we're seeing is equivalent to what we saw when the Lakers traded everything for Russell Westbrook. Like, you are literally seeing a pretty good roster, but not one that should win consistently, be bumped down to first round winning is our goal. You're seeing it real time, and it's all about the GMs. I always put it on the GMs because that is your job. If you cannot manage a roster and then sign good players, you are a paycheck thief. And it updates every year.
So, are you saying Pat Riley is a paycheck thief?
Yes. He is. What has he done good as the GM recently? Go ahead.
Honestly, I don't follow Miami Heat offseason moves too much.
No, and every time they're always rumored to get a star. They never do because they're scared to actually give anything up. And you look at their recent playoff runs, you yourself admitted it. It's Jimmy Butler in the 2023 one, and in the 2021, okay, you're giving Jimmy Butler only credit in the finals, but they were shooting super hot from 3 both years. What as the GM are you doing to make your players shoot almost 45% from 3? Nothing. And there's nothing you're doing as a coach either, by the way. They just got lucky. They were shooting terribly in the regular season, barely made it into the playoffs. There's some clutch factor. I'll give you that, but that's players, not coaches or GM. And then you just got lucky, and you made it, right? So all credit to the players there. But what trades has he done? Seriously. Like, does anyone remember Hassan Whiteside? That was the last project of the Miami Heat.
I think they want us to forget that one.
Yeah, that was their DeAndre Ayton. I will never forget. I watched these bums for real. Like, I'm about this. So, Pat Riley ain't got that respect for me no more. You ain't going to work off cachet from 30 years ago, back when a dog could probably GM a team into the playoffs, okay? That's how it is. Yeah, I might sound disrespectful to some of the old heads, but that's how it always goes. Every 10 years, it's like, wow. It used to be so easy back in the day. And it's just a reality. And that's cool. I'm not going to take away from what you did back then. Your accomplishments are your accomplishments. But for today, I don't really care what you did 10 years ago. Show me some recent decisions. Show me some process that I can really respect. Because to me, the only good part of Miami culture at this point is Spoelstra. I like the coach. I like the zone defense. I like the defensive buy-in. I like all that. That's not the GM to me. No, at this point, I think Pat Riley's ego is sort of becoming Jerry Jones-esque. He's hurting the team more than he's helping the team by being this icon that transcends the team. I ain't with that. So get that man out of there. Maybe Jimmy will stay.
All right. I think that'll bring our segment to a close. I think that was very illuminating.
I got to take my blood pressure medication, man.
You're 23, bro.
It's a metaphorical blood pressure medication.
That's what Miami.
I talk about a lot of metaphorical drugs on the show. No real ones are ever consumed.
Yeah, don't do drugs, guys, unless you want.
Unless you're in Miami. He trying to find that joy. Jimmy Butler trying to find that joy in basketball.
Well, as he showed,
ecstasy. Anyone ever heard of ecstasy?
As he showed, Miami does not give you that kind of joy. It's only temporary and fleeting.
I blame Pat Riley.
Yeah, of course you do.
He took it away from us. Right,
that'll bring the segment to
wrap it up before I get in trouble.
I'm trying. You won't let me. Let's bring the segment to a close. We're going on a 3-minute break. We'll be back. We'll be discussing our final game from last night and then be moving on to previews.
Yes, sir.